Hello, you guys, and welcome to today's episode of Single Mom Thriving. I wanted to get this up in time for Christmas because I know a lot of us are either already doing this or maybe this is your first season as a single mom navigating the holidays. And it is an emotional roller coaster. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna share with you a little bit of my experience and the things that have really come to help me get through it. Maybe a little less emotionally, let's say that, I guess, to not have a complete breakdown on the holidays, which I have done every year since my divorce. And might still happen this year. We'll see. I'll let you guys know how it goes. But today we're going to be talking all about navigating the holidays as a single parent. The difficulties, the things I have found that have helped me get through it, helped me navigate a little bit better, the mindset shifts that take you away from like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. I don't want to do this the rest of my life, because it is so normal and human for our minds to go there, especially like this isn't the way you saw it going. So I will say I have navigated 2 holidays as a single parent so far. This will be my 3rd one. And the first 2 were highly emotional. I, for certain circumstances, ended up having my daughter on Christmas morning for both of those Christmases so far. So we're going to get into it in a minute, but this will be my first holiday not waking up with my daughter on Christmas morning and not going to bed with her on Christmas Eve. But first, I want to tell you guys about my experiences so far. So as I said, I have luckily and fortunately for the past 2 holidays as a single parent been able to go to bed and wake up with my daughter on Christmas morning. But with that being said, I have also had complete crash outs and cried both of those holidays for other reasons. I think the first year it was very last minute, like how it was going to go. I was highly emotional. My divorce was just finalized. I was single, obviously, alone. And I was very upset about the fact that she was going to be spending it with a whole nother family that I didn't know. So it was a lot of different circumstances, but I will say, yes, I bawled my eyes out when I had to take her there on part of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, or give her to, my co-parent. I remember sitting in my car crying after I dropped her off, because while there are so many people that are separated, and there's a lot of people that are divorced now, and a lot of kids are doing this on the holidays, it's hard to not see everyone's posts on Facebook and see, all the families together on Christmas and not get a little bit triggered. I'm going to be honest. I was heavily triggered the first 2 years by that. Seeing everyone else, knowing that that's what we used to have and that I would never have that in that way again. I'm not saying I won't have it again in the future, but like for right now, that's your reality. I don't have that anymore. Maybe it's just you. And you're grieving what you thought you were going to have for the holidays as a family. So I do remember sitting in my car crying after dropping her off the first year. And I think I even called someone that night that I hung out with on the night of Christmas, because I was just so upset. I had been crying and I didn't want to be alone. So it was a roller coaster. Last year, I remember crying on Christmas Eve when I was going to get dinner with my family on Christmas Eve, because obviously she wasn't with me yet. She was going to be coming to me later, but all of Christmas Eve I didn't have her. So I remember getting ready to go to dinner and having a little crying breakdown in my bathroom as I was getting ready. I had my cute Christmas sweater on, and we were all going to get dinner, and it was Christmas Eve, and you're in the holiday spirit and the mood, and you just want to be with the people you love. And I remember wiping tears and having tissues under my lower eyelids in the bathroom while I was trying to get ready, because I didn't want to mess up my makeup, and having a complete little crying meltdown. I will say I went through something that I didn't expect last Christmas. My co-parenting situation was much different at the time, and we were actually going to do Christmas morning together at my place. I am glad. I don't know if she'll remember it. She was so young, but I am glad we did get to experience that with her. We have pictures that she'll see one day to see that we did have that Christmas together. But I remember going into like a blind rage on Christmas Eve before I got her home, before she was back with me. And I think I was just thinking about things a lot. And I was, it was the first year that I was like more settled as a single parent. And I was really, busting my ass. I was working really hard and I was so proud of all these gifts I was able to get for her. And I remember my first Christmas alone with her. I had everything set up for her to wake up to, and I had pictures and videos from that morning that I just loved. And I feel like we had such a special morning together and such a special memory. And it was just it's something like seared into my brain, our first Christmas, just the two of us that morning, because it was just so beautiful and special. Once I really started thinking about things last year, and it was like, oh, we're not going to have that this year. And I will be the first one to admit that there is a lot of anger and resentment still in me for my situation and the things I went through in my divorce and in my marriage. And I thought I had healed from a lot, and I went into literally like a blind rage. I feel like I saw red. I was crying. I sent this text message and was like, I crashed out a little bit. Like, I worked so hard to get her all these gifts and set up Christmas morning, and I don't want you here for that. You don't get to be a part of that. Was the way I worded it. And the way I was processing it in my own brain was, again, I worked so hard for this. I did this all on my own. And I was angry about the thought that someone was going to be there during that special moment that I had loved so much from the year prior, where it was just her and I. Not that they were going to like take credit for it, but it was like, you're just going to be here while I busted my ass to make a beautiful Christmas morning with, the Santa footprints and the cookies that were half eaten and the reindeer food and the breakfast that was going to be ready and all the gifts set up that I busted my ass to pay for. And someone else is going to be here getting to be a part of that moment and like not take credit for it, but like be associated with it. And I went in, I was pissed. I was pissed. I was like, no, this isn't right. They don't get to be here for that. Like, I got very angry about it. And I definitely lashed out a little bit. And I remember saying, I think I said it to my mom. I called somebody and I was crashing out a little. And I said, I want to have my special moment with her, with the things I got for her. I don't want anyone else to get to be a part of that didn't buy those things. Like, someone that put me in the situation doesn't get to enjoy this with me. I was just being a little crazy. And I remember my mom kind of being the voice of reason and being like, Sarah, like, why don't you do your gifts with her on Christmas Eve night once you get her home and have your special time with her by yourself? And then on Christmas morning, it can be, Santa's gifts, because Santa came, and maybe a couple extra things for her to open. And I was like, okay. And she said, it doesn't have to be Christmas morning for it to be her special Christmas moment with you. And that statement really sunk in, really stuck with me. And so that's what we did. When she came home Christmas Eve night, we did our gifts from me. And then Santa's gifts were just the other ones on Christmas morning with everyone. And it helped me see things in a much different perspective. The idea that it doesn't matter when it is, it's still special. And it's still their special holiday memories with you. Even if it's not Christmas morning, even if it's not Christmas Eve, you can do things anytime and it's still going to be special, especially when they're young. Sometimes they might be so young that they don't even realize that it's happening, not at the time it would typically happen. And then again, like, you're making your own traditions. You're making your own holiday things. So like, what may be no norm to some people, what was the norm to me growing up, will not be her norm, but that doesn't make it any less special. It doesn't make it any less meaningful, and it doesn't mean she's not going to remember it any less fondly and warmly than I remember my own memories of Christmas. And so to carry that whole idea of like, it doesn't matter when it happens, it's still going to be your special time with her, is where I want to segue into how I'm navigating things now, and that I'm still carrying that idea with me, because this is going to be my first Christmas that I don't wake up with my daughter on Christmas morning. And I'm okay. I haven't cried about it. I haven't gotten upset about it, because I know I was fortunate to be able to do it the last 2 years. I'm not going to be a psycho co-parent and say that she can never wake up somewhere else on Christmas Eve, because I know that's not fair. Do I wish she could be with me every Christmas morning? Absolutely. Do I want to make it that way? Selfishly, yes. I know that's not fair, and I know that's not going to happen. So I have accepted that, it's going to be different some years. And I had to go back to that, what my mom said to me on that phone call. Like, it doesn't matter when it happens. She's still going to have that special Christmas moment with you, opening her gifts from you, and having that no matter when it is. So, and I'm going to disclaimer it right now. I'm probably still going to cry on the holidays. I'm not going to, as of right now, how we've just discussed, I'm probably not seeing her at all on Christmas Eve. And I will get her back Christmas morning. And when she gets there Christmas morning, I'm going to have everything ready just as I would have if she was going to wake up there. And it's going to be like, look, Santa came because he knew you were coming home today. So Santa came here too. Present it to her that way. And then we're still going to have our special one-on-one time with the fireplace and the candles and the Christmas music. Like, I can still do all the crazy holiday things, even though she's not waking up with me on Christmas morning. And I know that's what a mom out there needs to hear that might be going through this for the first time and is just heartbroken that they're not going to be with their child on Christmas morning or go to bed with them on Christmas Eve. Maybe this is what you need to hear, is what I'm saying, because it's taken me a while to get to accept all this, but I'm okay with it. It's still going to be special. It doesn't matter when it happens. And so I wanted to share, that's how I'm handling this holiday, that we're still going to have all the special memories. It's not going to make it any less special just because she wakes up somewhere else. Yes, like I said, I might still cry. I might still hold on to that resentment and be a little, grief-ridden that this is going to happen sometimes. This is going to happen some years. And it's just the consequences of getting divorced and having split homes. But I am still very much looking forward to it. I'm going to do something on Christmas Eve with my family so that I'm not completely alone all day on Christmas Eve. And I actually just had virtual therapy earlier, and I was talking to her about it. And she said, maybe this can be a new tradition you start on the years you don't have her. Obviously, and I discussed this with her, obviously I am in a relationship. She does know my significant other, my boyfriend. I don't think it's appropriate for him to be here for Christmas morning yet. I think it's too soon for that. I don't think he should be a part of it yet. So I am setting, that boundary that no, like, you're not ingrained enough with my family to be a part of Christmas morning yet. So I will be alone on Christmas Eve. But what I was getting at, I'm squirrel braining a little bit, but what I was getting at that we talked about during therapy today was maybe we make this my opportunity to create a new tradition for myself on the years I don't have her, to make Christmas Eve and Christmas morning like a very self-care evening. To, have the cozy, make the hot chocolate, maybe watch a cozy Christmas movie, have the candles in the fireplace still burning, and, make it a big self-care night. That was what we talked about. And she was like, no, I think this could be, obviously you're still going to be sad, feel the emotions, you're human, but this is a really great opportunity to create a tradition for yourself. And it was interesting to think about it after we talked, because I'm like, people don't make traditions normally with themselves. It's normally things you make with other people. And what a cool opportunity to kind of think about that in a different way. I actually just read an idea similar to this that it made me think of in Jen Hatmaker's most recent book, called Awake, where she went through a divorce. So if anyone out there is listening and wants to check out that book, it's really good for anyone that is or has gone through separation, or even if you haven't. It's just a really good read about navigating difficult times. But she talked about how she created this time period. She made a tradition of traveling solo every year on the time period where she doesn't have her kids during the summer, I believe it was. And she called it Me Camp, where when her kids go to summer camp or wherever they're going, she goes on Me Camp and takes a trip somewhere to, do her own sort of like self-care and going to do something fun for herself and explore new places and go eat and drink and wherever she is. And so it reminded me of that, of like, okay, maybe this will be my tradition on the years I don't have Rena, to have like I'll think of a cute name for it, like a self-care Christmas Eve or a Merry Self-Care Eve. I don't know. I'll think of something cute, but that I'll do something for myself and have a special night. Maybe I'll buy, and I'm just free going off the top of my head here, maybe I'll buy like something for dessert to have that night while I watch my Christmas movie and, have a little splurge, pamper myself, indulge in something during that alone time. As my, like Christmas Eve by myself, maybe I'll always treat myself to some dessert that I like or make something or order something in. I don't know. We'll see. But something to make it special, the other thing I kind of thought about was like Christmas Eve morning, waking up alone. I am a morning person, but I really enjoy the morning. And it was like I saw a post recently actually about a mom appreciates that hour of silence and cup of coffee with the Christmas lights on the tree twinkling before the kids get up more than anybody. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Like I love to sit and have my coffee in the morning with the lights on when it's still dark outside and just kind of, the warm glow. It's just so cozy and a time to really like romanticize that. And so I thought, I'll still get up early. I'll make my coffee, maybe put on some Christmas music, have the twinkly lights, like get all the presents set up and still have that like cozy morning, romanticize it a little bit if I have to be by myself until she gets there. So that's how I'm approaching the holidays this year. And yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's navigating whose family does what and what holiday party. And is that a night I have her? And can we switch or can I bring her home late? It's a lot, you guys. And I just want to say, having 2 years experience with it under my belt, give yourself grace. You're going to feel emotions. You're going to get upset. You're going to get sad. It's human. It's only natural. Feel the feelings, move through them. You're allowed to feel that way, but also don't let it ruin the entire holiday. Because like I said earlier, and I want you guys to remember this, you can still have special holiday moments and memories with your child whenever they happen. It doesn't need to look the same way as everyone else's. It doesn't need to look the same way yours did when you grow up. It might look different, but this might be what your normal and your tradition is, and there's nothing wrong with that. And your kids are still going to have those amazing memories with you. You're still going to have these great memories with them, and they're not going to be any less special just because they're not the typical way or on the timeline that we would have foreseen them being. Things being different doesn't make them any less beautiful. And that's the note I really want to leave you guys on. If I don't get anything up again before the holidays, I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. I am sending you guys warmth, light, love, a big hug to get through the holidays as a single parent. As I've talked about, it's not always easy. And I see you. I'm holding space for you. I'm right there with you. And just remember to still make those special moments because we all deserve to have them and they are not any less special or hold any less love because they are just a little bit different now. So on that note, Merry Christmas, you guys. Happy holidays. And I will see you in the new year for Single Mom Thriving. Mwah. I love you guys so much.